One of the issues that I've been looking at with the F-15 project is the amount of wire that it consumes. And there's no real way around it, and you know, it is what it is. The problem comes in when you're having to make a lot of the same length wire, and because of the connector pins and sockets that I use, they all have to be trimmed off or stripped at the same amount. So when I decided to get resumed on the project a couple of years ago, like I mentioned, the whole pre-COVID thing, I decided that I was going to build myself an automatic wire cutting and stripping machine. Because what was out there, it was adequate, but the documentation was really poor. It was in Chinese, and the machines were kind of expensive. So I came up with this. It's not much. It's an Arduino Nano, a stepper motor driver, okay, an extruder drive from a 3D printer, and a servo to drive a pair of side cutters. This is the first version of that machine, and it's got a little display here, and it's not completely working anymore because it's been partially disassembled, so I'm not going to show you how it works. But it asks for the length on startup, and using this little keypad, you enter the length, hit enter, which is the # key here, and then the number of wires you want, and then hit enter, and it'll sit there and go through and just cut the wires. That was the first version that I wanted to build, and I got this far a couple of years ago. Well, vintage computer stuff happened, and I put this aside. And when I decided I really needed to get back on the F-15 now that I'd gotten the vintage computer things all straightened out enough that I could move on. That's just not going to behave, is it? There we go. I'll just do that. Take that, move that over there. This is the other version that I came up with, okay? This is based on some other designs that I have seen on the internet, where this one strips and cuts. Same drive. I've got a servo that will move the tip of the wire into the cutters, okay? I'm using an adjustable stripper, okay? So when it comes down, it'll cut the wire, but this will prevent it from cutting the wire when it's lined up with the stripping point on the cutters. And this is as far as I got, because I got to thinking about it, and it's a complex process. And I had a lot of stuff to get done. I have a lot of stuff to get done. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Spend my limited spare time screwing around with developing a machine that other people have already built that appears to work? Or am I just going to go to the best solution I can afford and do that? Well, that's what I decided to do. I am increasingly of the opinion that my time is worth more than I have been giving myself credit for. And if I can affordably buy myself into a tool that will solve a problem instead of building the tool, I'm going to do that. And that is the point of this entire video. I went ahead and hit Amazon, and I bought a big thing. It is the aforementioned, oh my God, this box is heavy. Commercial wire cutter stripper. I picked this up, 4 months ago, I think. Yeah, about 4 months ago, maybe 5 months ago. and I haven't had a chance to unbox it. So let's go ahead and get to that, shall we? We'll dig out my trusty pocket knife here, and we'll get this thing opened up. And it's really heavy. It probably weighs 50 pounds. There are no reviews, realistic reviews available for this thing. It's on Amazon for, I don't know, probably 800 bucks, I think. So let's see here. Oh, this is going to be problematic if I do this on the bench. So let's not do it on the bench. I'm going to do it from the floor, and I'll just keep lifting stuff up onto the table, wrecking my back for your entertainment. Ugh. Okay. So we have a manual that says full automatic computer wire stripping machine operation manual. And it doesn't look bad. I don't know how accurate it is or how good it is, but it's there. I mean, and it's staple bound, laser printed black and white. If there's a PDF version of it, I wouldn't mind having that, because that way, if it's color, I could print it in color. Oh, miscellaneous bits and pieces. Oh boy, more packing material. I love this stuff. Said nobody ever. This is a neat looking machine. And I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to get it out of this box without killing myself. But we're going to find out. Oh, there's another bag of stuff. Oh, I think this thing is what is used to take the curl out of the wire as it's coming off the spool. I don't know if that's correct or not. It's my story. I'm sticking to it. I don't know if the manual says how to use it or not. Another piece of foam. Okay. Nope, it's not going to come that way. Okay. We'll get this. We'll figure this out. I don't want to just grab on something and risk bending something important before I've had a chance to actually use the machine. Oh, there we go. Ah. And of course it comes with a piece of packing material. And there we go. That is an industrial wire cutting and stripping machine. Looks like that. And I keep looking to the side over here because I have a monitor that shows me, and I use it to make sure that I'm keeping in frame and all that happy crap. This is interesting. This overlay is entirely in English. The pictures that they have on the website, all of this text is not all of it, but it's a mixture of Chinese and English. So I am going to get this thing set up and we'll see how it works. I'm going to run one sample cycle and you'll see how it works. And that's it. That's a super slow cycle. Okay. Okay. So if I run it in a run mode, which I've got it set to cut 3 wires at a time here, and I'm kind of running out of wire to cut, but I hit the start button and it runs the batch. And that is in short wire mode. So we need to flip it to long wire mode. And we'll run that batch again. In other words, it's just going to cut and strip 3 wires. Okay, let's see, we've got the wires that we cut here. Now that's the slowest it goes. I will change it to speed setting 5, which is what it is defaulting to, and we'll see how fast that goes. Whoops. And then we'll run those 3 wire cuts again. And there we go. Sometimes it strips it, sometimes it doesn't. I think it's got to do with the fact that the wire is so small. This may not be a good machine for doing 24 gauge and below wire. This is actually 22 gauge, so I should say 22 gauge and below. And I just noticed that, you can't see it, but these are starting to come loose. So yeah, fun times. Here's the interface for it. You can see it's still showing Chinese, but we've got, this is the length of the strip, how much it pulls the insulation off. If you wanted to pull the insulation completely off, these 2 numbers would be the same. And then you've got the whole length of the wire, and then these 2 values are the same, but for the other end of the wire. The knife value here is how far the blades will travel in order to do a cut operation. And the recede cutter is the distance the blades move doing a stripping operation. Okay, this is the smallest value you can use, and I'm still not getting reliable strips on 24 gauge wire, but at least it measures out correctly. It's actually a pretty good machine as far as what it does. I haven't really hammered it, but it's an industrial built machine. It's not the typical junk you see on Amazon. There is no model number on it. It is, however, got a Vevor manufacturing sticker on it. That's not the unit that I ordered, or at least not the brand, and that's fine. The documentation is trash. I sat down and I worked through all of the settings to see how it worked, and I wrote notes up on that, and I will include those notes in a link in the description, so other folks that get similar machines can at least have some understanding as to how they work without stumbling through that manual, which is right there. I've chased a couple of different copies, and they generally say the same stuff. This thing refers to features that this wire machine does not have. The first thing you'll notice is this is backwards from most of the ones you'll see photos of on the internet. I don't know why. Usually the wire straightener is on that side and the output is on this side. It refers to twisted line. I'm not sure what that feature is about. Anytime you try to do anything with it, it just says no function. I suspect what is going on is that there is a standard firmware set and a standard control board for this whole line of automatic wire cutters and strippers. And depending on the model you buy, depends on what functionality that firmware supports, okay? I've seen references to wire twisters and a photo of something that sat right here that did some mechanical action and things like that. So there's got to be more going on, but I just don't have enough information on it to tell you guys. Let me flip around and take a look in the back and you guys can see what it looks like on what the control board and all that looks like. Okay, opening this thing up, let's widen that out just a little bit. It's pretty straightforward. You just pop the clips and the machine opens. Let me unplug that. Might as well be safe, right? Har. I need to grab a light. Give me a second. Wow, that just blows it out, doesn't it? Let's dial that back just a little bit. Maybe that'll help. Or just gives horrible shadows. I'm not a lighting guy. Let me grab another light. More the merrier, right? Okay. There we go. Now I can just completely blow out anything and make this impossible to look at, right? Yeah, that's horrible. But it is what it is. So the control board in here, which is right here, looks like it's got all kinds of various functions to it that are not used in this machine. There's a lot of blank or unused connections, like these 2-pin connections here. It looks like there's also a stepper motor, an additional stepper motor connector here that's not used, as well as one that could be populated. The machine has got 3 stepper drivers, okay? And looking at them, the number on them is B1206. And it looks like a configurable stepper motor with dip switches for settings for stepping and things like that. I'm assuming this goes to the front panel. There's belt drives and gear drives and things like that in the bottom. I'll go ahead and I'll lower that down. Maybe you guys can see that. Kind of zoom in there and see that. Nope. Let's go even lower. There you go. You can see the belt drive. And that's what seems to be driving the motors, or not the motors. What are they called? The drive rollers. Good God, man, use your words. So it's kind of an interesting machine. I mean, it looks like it's got a spot here for a 4th stepper driver. It does produce a lot of heat. I stick my hand in there and it's kind of warm. I'm not gonna, that transformer is a pretty beefy beast. But the wire terminations look good. You know, it doesn't look like it's cheaply built. I would love to know what other stuff it does or could do, because I'm willing to bet that the entire range of machines has this same controller board. One thing that I'm kind of annoyed by is the system menu, and I'll show you that here in a second. Okay, the system menu is with this key here. It wants you to enter a password. Well, the problem is that while it does give you the password of the manual, you can't use it. there's nothing that will allow you to enter any of the numbers. And the password is just a binary number. It's like 100111001 or something like that. But you can't get into it. But it does show you in the manual what it is. And it allows you to do things like change the steps required to feed a meter of wire and things like that. And it's probably a good idea that they don't let you play with it, because I could easily see somebody thinking they knew what they were doing, getting in there and screwing it up and not writing values down, and end up making a mess of the machine. But it's still kind of annoying that I can't get into it, because, well, damn it, it's mine and I want to get into it. At any rate, another thing that it mentioned is RS-422 communication. There is not enough information in the manual to actually understand what that communication link could do. It would be nice if it was completely controllable by a PC, because then I could write software for it that did away with this entirely, and I had more control over how far these blades moved, in as much as I could control with more precision to use smaller diameter wires. But other than that, that's all I got for you guys. The next video is going to be about that, and it's going to be awesome. See you guys later.